Hi and welcome to practice today. If you've been sitting over a desk, you've been really hunched over your phone, devices, then you're in the right place because we're going to be rolling the shoulders back and we're going to be doing lots of chest and heart opening work today. So I have got a couple of yoga blocks with me, and if you want to grab a couple of those now, hit the pause button. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. You can still do this class without. It's just sometimes really handy having the blocks to kind of bring the floor a bit closer to you. So whenever you're ready, get the stuff that you need and we can get started. Okay, so to start off, I'm in a seated position. If you need to modify this, this is absolutely fine. But I've got the legs in easy pose, in Sukhasana. I'm going to take the hands onto the knees, sit myself up nice and tall, lifting up from the base of the spine and out through the crown of the head. And then holding onto the knees, you're going to kind of barrel roll around the chest. So this is really good for the digestive system, but also we don't find we typically move the body in this type of way on a day-to-day basis. So these are really good for us. So really good for your spinal mobility, for your digestive system, and to get us out from being hunched over like Gollum. So I'm going to go the other way now in case you haven't done the same. Feels a bit weird, doesn't it? But I think all yoga can feel a bit weird, right? And then again, I'm going to go the other way. Make sure you're breathing the whole time. And just be aware of the shoulders. So I've already caught myself out a few times where I feel like I've got the shoulders up to my ears, I'm losing my neck. So I just want you to check in with yourself and make sure you're doing the same, that you're trying to relax those shoulders. It's hard, isn't it? Okay, so enough of that now, and you're going to come back to center. Now, you typically go to your more sort of habitual side. So I'm going to crisscross the legs over the other way. I'll turn to the side here. And what you're going to do, feels weird with the legs like this, doesn't it? Is you're going to take the hands to clasp and then interlace the hands, flip them over to face upwards towards the ceiling. Get your back really long, try and get your hands to touch the sky, and then I'm going to manipulate the back here to round. So I kind of lower the head down, C-shape the spine, look down towards my belly button, and then lift the chest and heart up, and the hands follow back up towards the ceiling again. So you're going to do that nice and simple, just a few times. If it's, if there's any tension here in the wrists or in the hands, just flip the hands over, just keep them kind of together. It's absolutely fine. It's just a bit of a bonus having the hands flip the other way to stretch out the hands and the wrists, which again are areas that get really tight and tired from lots of typing. Okay, so whenever you're ready, sit yourself up, part the hands, roll the shoulders back. Breathe. That felt like the longest exhale in the world, and I obviously needed that one. And then come onto all fours. You've got shoulders above wrists and hips stacked above the knees. We're going to come into cat and cow, so we're just kind of following along from the seated kind of cat and cow position you did, and now coming into full cat and cow. So make sure that we're rounding the spine on the cat stretch. I'll be there in a moment, just hold on. There we go, there's the cat stretch. Head is down, tailbone towards the knees, and then of course when I'm in cow pose, chin lifts up, heart moves through the arms, sit bones up towards the sky. So try not to compare like how much you're moving, whether you can see yourself when you're using a mirror for practice today, or if you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm not moving as much as I thought I was with my back. Don't worry about it. As long as you're breathing, that's fine. Alright, next up we're going to move into downward facing dog. So nice neutral spine, tuck the toes underneath, lift the hips up towards the sky. Hello calves, hello hamstrings today. And then you're going to take a nice little walk there on the spot and alternate between bending and straightening out the legs. I really like this one. It feels like a nice little rinse out. Alright, so keep moving chest and heart towards the thighs. Slightly hug the ribs in though, if you're very mobile in the back especially. Alright, And then from here, you're going to come back down onto all fours. Now this is where you might want to use the blocks. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'll show you without the blocks. What you're going to do is you're going to move back slightly from all fours as if you're doing child's pose. And then from here, you're going to bend the elbows and try and lower your chest and heart down as far as you can towards the floor. Your chin might touch the earth as well. Then come back up again and push back like you're doing child's pose, or you might be able to push all the way back. Just try not to change too much of the distance between your hands and knees from all fours. The blocks, how I've got them set up, I'm using both of them now, and I've got them directly in front of the fingers. Again, they're shoulder width apart as well, and then I'm going to lower chest and heart to touch the blocks there, come back up and then push back. If you need to, you can take them a little bit higher on sort of their medium height, but of course it's very unrealistic to take them to their highest point because the blocks will kind of wibble wobble. So you decide on what you want to do and what you feel comfortable with. All right. Again, nice deep breaths. Try and get that pause if you can. It's a little bit easier to do that when you're working with the blocks, of course. Can feel it in the arms as well, but the blocks kind of make sure you retract the shoulders back, that you're not kind of just dumping them down. Okay, we've got one more after this one, but if you just need to rest back in child's pose, not a problem, that's where we're heading. All right. Again, if you're working without the blocks, it doesn't matter, you can come up onto the fingertips and extend the arms in child's pose. But if you have got the blocks, play around with flipping them over to their highest point. Touch the big toes together. Reach the arms so they're straight out there in front of you. And chest and heart moving downwards towards the floor. Close the eyes. Move those shoulders away from the ears. If you want to deepen that stretch, you can move your buttocks away from your heels slightly and shuffle your hands or your blocks forwards to your bumblebee somewhere in the air. Arms straight, but you'll notice you can open up the shoulders and the upper back just a little bit more by doing this. And then from here, slowly come up and out. Nice job. So I'm just going to move my blocks to the side. I recommend you do the same so they're out of the way. And once you're on all fours, we're going to be taking the right hand up towards the sky. And you've got two choices. You can take that right elbow down towards the floor, so you've got the whole forearm down, I should say. And when you look at the elbow, it should follow this line in between the knees, so it's kind of bang on in your center line. And you can stay there, or you can reach left hand up towards the ceiling. That's option one. Or option two is to take the hand up and then thread it all the way through. It kind of traces the back line of the wrist. I've got my right shoulder down, the side of the head down as well. Sorry, I always find it really hard to talk when I'm threading, so apologies if my voice sounds a bit weird. Think about taking the left hip back just a tad, and your hips should be just above your knees. This might be enough, or you can take it into a bind with that left arm wrapping around the waist, or alternatively, you can play around, and it's very common to fall with this one, you can take the left leg up towards the sky. So you might find that there's like a speck that you can focus on, because yeah, this one is so easy to fall out. Come up onto the fingertips of the left hand, and if you want to, you can take an additional bind. See if you want to take the left hand to left foot. Lift the knee and inner thigh nice and high, and really anchor that right back of the hand deep into the mat or into the floor. And then of course to come out, just one thing at a time. Slowly coming out. I personally would take cat and cow in between that. Feels like someone's taken over my back in that position. And then over towards the other side, so left arm reaching up. Choose your variation, like I said, forearm can be down, link it to the back, touch it on the back of that right wrist, make sure your left elbow is in that center line in between the knees, or carry it on through to thread Just get used to your twist. I personally never go sort of straight into the next variation. That just never seems to suit me. And you combined with the top arm, you can place the right hand back down and take that right leg up towards the sky if you want to. That might be enough for today, or you're adding in hand to foot, this bind, which I'm not going to lie, really is testing and challenging today. Hope you're breathing a lot. Have you fallen out? Have you fallen out of the pose or with the pose? And then slowly come out and down and back up, and then come into cat and cow just one time, just to rinse that out, and then lift up into downward facing dog, shoulders above wrists, or I should say shoulders move behind the wrists there, hips lift nice and high, come up really high up onto the balls of the feet, press down through the big and second toe, so this will help so you don't roll out there on the ankles to stress them out. You want to make sure that when you're lifting up nice and high up onto the balls of the feet, that you're pressing down through the big and second toe. And we're going to do that one more time. And then we're going to walk the feet back into plank. So you should have now shoulders above those wrists, and take your tailbone towards the heels. Draw the belly in. Close the eyes. Take another breath. And reopen the eyes. Now you can take the knees down first if you want to, or push from the toes down into Chaturanga Dandasana, and an extra little push to get you up into Cobra. Roll the shoulders back and away. Radiate the heart through the arms. Press down through your strong legs, and we're going to roll the chest and heart downwards towards the floor. Now press the fingertips into the mat. I'm just going to bring my big toes to link together, and try and press the little toes down into the floor too. It's very difficult, I know. But press the fingertips into the mat, navel to spine, and then inhale, lift the chest and heart up. Keep those legs nice and strong. Don't go so far that it feels like it's crunching into your back. And then slowly come down. And you're going to do the same again. Inhale to lift up. Press the fingertips deep into the mat. Strengthen the back body here whilst you stretch out the front body. And again to roll down. And you're going to do that one more time. Inhaling to rise up. Lift the chin. Neck nice and long. And down. Then you're going to push back into your child's pose. And this time I'm going to have the knees really wide and the big toes to touch together. And extend the arms out in front. Or if you're like me, you need to stack the hands. That feels better. Then go for it. You can also use your blocks, of course. So really try and snuggle and kind of wriggle the body into this pose with ease. Whenever you're ready, you're going to slowly come up. And again, we're on all fours. Now we're going to be taking Sunbird. So once you are here, you're going to be taking the right leg towards the back. Try and keep that leg in alignment there with the hip, so you're not kind of throwing your back into it. The leg shouldn't be too high. And the left hand is forwards. Again, same as the leg, the hand is in alignment with the shoulder. Keep pushing away the mat. And then I want you to hug the ribs in. Navel to spine. So don't lose that link there in the chain there. You want to make sure your core is nice and strong. And then we're going to change sides from here onto the other leg. Left leg towards the back, right hand is forwards. Again, hug the ribs in, navel to spine. Reach through those toes, reach through those fingertips. And then we're going to switch, and we're going to make it a little bit more challenging. Alright, so we're in Sunbird. We've got left hand forwards, right hand back. I'm going to bend the back knee, and this part's important. Open up the body to the side for your twist, and see if you can get the left hand to hold on to this back foot or the ankle. Bring the heel away from backside, lift the toes up towards the ceiling and push away your yoga mat. So if you can't find the ankle, just bend the knee and continue reaching that left hand forwards. Then you're going to come down. God, that was hard. And then go the other side. Okay, so we've got left leg back, not too high, no, not too high, and reach the right hand forwards. Then we're going to bring heel towards backside, open up this right side of the body, grabbing onto the foot or onto the ankle, lift the toes up, bring the heel away from the backside, push away from the floor, smile, make out as if you know what you're doing. Ding, it feels great. And then slowly come out. Again, I think I need a cat stretch after that. Maybe a cow pose too. And then move into downward facing dog. We're going to come towards the head of our yoga mat next. Come up onto the balls of the feet. Walk the feet forwards towards the hands. And just check the feet are hip distance apart. You can bend the knees if you want or straighten out the legs. Hold on to the backs of the legs from here. Roll your shoulders back and away. Take a nice deep inhale and a long exhale. Let that neck go nice and long like a giraffe, allowing the body to move downwards towards the floor as the hips lift nice and high. Hands to shins or fingertips to earth, and inhale, lift up halfway into Ardha Uttanasana. Exhaling to forward fold down. We're going to bend the knees, drop the arms nice and heavy, and slowly rise up to standing. Roll the shoulders back and away, reach the hands up towards the sky, and bring the hands to come down to prayer. So you should be somewhere at the head of your yoga mat to come into your next flow. I'm going to just arrange the clothing situation. Okay. So when you feel ready, standing nice and tall, feet about hip distance, or if you like feet together, it's not a problem. Lengthen your tailbone down towards the heels. Lift your ribcage up and away from the hips. Roll your shoulders back and down and lift up through the crown of the head. We're going to bring the hands to come to prayer. Inhale, reach the hands up towards the sky. Exhaling to forward fold back down. Just been here, so it should feel okay. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale to forward fold back down. Bend through the knees and step back with that left foot going into low lunge. So feet hip distance, you can rock and roll a little bit, maybe doing what I'm doing, or you might have your own way of kind of moving around and opening up the hips more. It's up to you. Just as long as you're in, you're feeling pretty good, it's good for the joints. All right. So from here, I'm going to step in just a little bit. The longer that you take your lunge, the more you might aggravate your back. So just bear that in mind. Walk the hands up the legs and come up into a high lunge. So in this one, we've got the hands just above the shoulders. Take a breath. See if you can sink down just a little bit more. Try and keep that knee just above that ankle there, that front leg. And then we're going to straighten out this front leg as best as you can. So any knee issues, keep a micro bend of the knee. Keep the joints nice and happy, and then come back down. And again to straighten out. Come back down. Again to straighten out. And down. 2 more. Last one. Now we're going to change sides from here. Take the fingertips down. Step forwards. Change sides. Feet hip distance and move around just a little bit. Alright, so find your lunge. You should have your knee just above the ankle. Come up into a high lunge. Front knee just above that front ankle. Strong in the back leg as well. Pressing the feet deep into the mat to get that lift. And then we're going to straighten out that front leg and slowly come back down. So remember, navel to spine. Nice deep breaths. Okay, how are you doing? Got a couple more. And last one. Bring the fingertips down, step forwards, change legs once again. Alright, so we've got left leg back. You shouldn't have to rock and roll it, so you should have, again, knee just above the ankle. But then what's going to happen is now is you're going to position the hands there on to the thighs, both of them, and then as if you're trying to round your back, and you might be able to push the hands deep into the legs, and then sink back down into it. And again, to round the spine, push that back leg into the mat, like you're doing your cat stretch, and again, to open up. So now you'll be able to lift the chin maybe. One more time, rounding, and then opening up. So just see it as an extension of cat and cow. Then from here, you're going to float the hands up towards the sky, straighten out the front leg, keep the hands lifted, rebend through the front knee. Take your arms out to the sides into a cactus position and twist your body towards the right, and then twist your body towards the left. How are you doing with your balance there? I feel like I'm going to fall over. And then from here back to center, reach the arms lifted. Come down, and we've got this madness on the other side. Stepping back with that right leg, left leg is forwards, knee just above the ankle. Reaching up into high lunge, then take the hands there onto the thighs and push the hands into the legs, rounding the spine slightly, and then sink down into your lunge. I rebend the front knee, lift the chest and heart and the chin up. That's a bit weird. But it gets us away from, just getting used to some of the lunges being a certain way. You get to work different areas of your body, and you have to really focus on what you're doing. You can't think about anything else, because the moment that you do, you stack it and fall. So it's really good for our attention spans and finding a bit of calm. All right, so I've got the arms reached up towards the sky. I'm just straightening out the front leg, coming back down into a lunge, arms into the cactus position. Hello, twisting towards the left and twisting towards the right. So bring those elbows wide out to the side, palms of the hands facing forwards. Lots of breathing again. It's another one where I can't really focus on anything else because I'm going to stack it on 4. All right, so I'm going to come out, bring the fingertips down, step forwards. I'm not going to lie, those are, it's a lot on the legs. And forward fold down into Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhaling on your forward fold, bend through the knees, drop the arms, roll up the spine to come up to standing. Roll the shoulders back, reach the hands up. Bring the hands slowly coming down to prayer. So just take a moment here in your standing position, finding Tadasana, feet hip distance apart. I'm going to take the hands down by the side of the body and the palms of the hands facing forwards, and close the eyes and just roll your shoulders back. Feel your shoulder blades kind of sit nicely there into the upper back rather than rounding and hunching the spine. I want you to really broaden the upper body here and stand proud. Root down through your feet. Close the eyes. Breathe. Good. Take another breath. And whenever you're ready, reopen the eyes. Bring the hands to come to prayer. If you need to adjust the feet, then go for it. But we're going straight into Uttanasana, forward fold. Then I'm going to take the feet about shoulder width apart. I prefer the legs wider in this position. You can kind of see how you go with it. Bend the knees and then interlace the hands around towards the lower back. And you'll need to work from the shoulders rather than just what the hands are doing. Head is down. Roll the shoulders back and away. Try and squeeze your shoulder blades together and straighten out your arms. Then see if you can lift the arms overhead just a bit more. Keep that intonation. Keep the hips and the buttocks lifting nice and high. And lots of deep breaths. If you need to let go, don't just let go of the hands up in the air. Bring the hands towards the lower back. You can just hold on to the elbows instead if you prefer. If you've got this intonation with me, bend your right knee and turn your head and your body towards the left. And then we're going to go over towards the other way. Bend through the left knee, straightening out this right leg, and turn your body towards the right. Again, bend through the right knee, turn your body towards the left, and lift the chest and heart away from the legs slightly. Get your body nice and long. And then over towards the right to turn and bend through the left knee. Body moves away from the legs slightly. Come back down. Now I'm going to lower the hands towards the lower back. Let go of the hand. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhaling to forward fold. I'm not going to shuffle the feet. Hands come down. Hands are shoulder width apart though, and step back into downward facing dog. Roll the shoulders back and away from the ears and reach that right leg up towards the sky for downward dog split. Keep pushing away your yoga mat. Step that foot forwards into your low lunge. If you've got to grab this front leg and step into position, please go for it. Lower the back knee down. Relax the back toes, hands to hips, rising up into low lunge. And now take both hands up towards the sky with the beach ball in between the hands. Or imaginary beach ball, I should say. Press that front foot deep into the mat and take the left hand to the left hip or run it down the back leg. It could be the thigh, the calf. Try and get the limbs correct. But what you want to remember is that you've got to come back out of this again. So don't go too far, because then you can't get back out of your pose. Okay, so just remember that. Lift your chest and heart nice and high. Reach the right arm overhead. Lift up through the pelvic floor muscles. If you're like me, sometimes you need to support the back of the head, then go for it. Take the right hand to the back of the head. No problemo. And then of course come out, and we've got right hand down on the inside of the right foot, and we're in a variation of side angle pose. Heaps of breathing. And then come down, hands either side of that front foot. We've got to step it back into downward dog split with the right leg lifting up towards the sky. Ooh, hip click. Do you get those? Drop that right foot down, left leg reaching up towards the sky, brush those toes. Ta-da! Step that foot forwards into your low lunge. Good. And from here, lower the back knee down towards the floor. Rising up, low lunge. Turn it into a low crescent. And then take it into a variation, either right hand there onto the hip or run it down the leg. Reach the chest and heart to face up towards the ceiling. Like I said, back of the head can go into the left hand if it wants to. And then take the left hand on the inside of the left foot and reach the right hand up towards the sky. It's nice, this one. And then from here, slowly come down. Hands either side of that front foot, tuck the toes underneath and step it back into downward dog split. Now, I'm going to take the foot down, take the knees down to the mat, but then take the knees about shoulder width apart, or a little bit wider than that in fact. Big toes touch together, walk the hands back as if you're going to sit down, but not quite. All right, so have your buttocks hovering away from your heels. Plant the right hand down, left hand comes up towards the sky. Now you can either take just the elbow down, the left elbow, and then reach back up, or you can somewhat thread it through. It's up to you. But it's a really nice way of mobilizing the upper back, opening up through the shoulders, so nice for rotator cuff, as long as there's obviously no injuries going on. see how you go. But again, all of this gets us away from that typical desk-based position. Or even if, you know, you're used to like long commutes, again, being hunched over, any seated position really. Okay, so now I'm on the other side. I'm kind of doing a mix of all sorts of things, so you don't have to do just the one. You could be threading, elbow down. It doesn't matter even if you're like, you're here and you're like, I can't go all the way down now. That's all right. No one said you had to. All right, so I've got one more of these. And then I'm going to come back down. I'm going to find child's pose. I'm going to adjust the knees though. This time I'm going to have them hip distance apart. I'm going to use my blocks for this one. And what I'm going to do is, I've still got big toes touching. I don't want my feet to overlap. And I'm going to go on the highest setting here with my blocks. Can you see I've got them in quite close? You can do this one without the blocks, by the way, but it is nicer on the blocks. And they're quite close in, because what I want to do is I want to position my arms on them and somewhere above the elbow, so that way the elbows can rest. All right, so hands to prayer, lower the chest and heart down, and the head, and then take the hands there in the prayer position towards or in between the shoulder blades, and you get this beautiful stretch along the triceps that, you know, you might take for granted if you're not aching there, but oh my goodness, my triceps are screaming at me in this position, but in a nice way. They're really happy. They're screaming, but they're happy. But I'm breathing all the way through it. And to come out slowly, reach the arms out in front, lift the head up, and slowly rise up. Okay, so I'm going to bring the legs round to come down into a seated position. And I'll face you guys for this. So shoulders can be something that kind of gets kind of set or stuck in a sort of very same position. It's very repetitive. Having a sort of sit down job, or if you're a student. So what I'm going to get you to do is see how you go with this one on the shoulder. It's quite intense. It really gets into sort of the rear sort of delts, and some people are a bit more flexible than others, so bear that in mind. And it will be the top of the wrist here that goes along the side of the waist, all right? And then what you're going to do with the other hand is you're going to guide the elbow forwards without hunching up, all right? So relax the shoulder, do lots of breathing, and try to get the elbow to face as far forwards as you can without cheating and twisting the body round. So keep the body facing forwards, keep the body facing me. So this side has surprised me and is not too bad. We're going to go over towards the other side in a moment. Okay, coming out of it was, yeah. So come out of it nice and slowly. Then you're going to go toward the other side. Now I'm right-handed, so I'm not looking forward to this one. So it's the top of the wrist on the side of the waist, very side of the waist. So I see students going on the front. No, it's not on the front of the stomach, by the side. And then heaps of breathing, trying to take the elbow forward. So I've seen some people where they can really get the elbow really far forwards. I'm not one of those people. It looks so simple, it looks really boring, but it's very effective. And I think as soon as you do it, it's one of those things that you realise, like, I need to do more of this. But we don't, because we forget. Of course we do. Then you're going to release, roll the shoulders a few times, and come into a reverse tabletop position. So you might find you're not able to lift the hips as high, especially if you've got anything going on in the wrist and in the shoulders, so just be really mindful of that. And it's just still good to practice getting the buttocks off, you know, the floor, so you'll still find that you are strengthening the wrists and the shoulders by coming into like a variation of this pose. Now I've got the feet Hip distance apart, toes facing forwards, of course. Reach the hands forwards. I've got the hands shoulder width apart, and then I'm going to drag the hands back and past the hips, and I do that to try and make sure that the hands are nice and even. Now ideally you'd have the fingertips pointing forwards, but I have seen students having to turn the fingertips out towards the side or even towards the back so the shoulders can tolerate it. So I want you to do what feels good to you. If you have the feet too far away, it's going to be very hard for you to lift up, so you might need to slide the feet in just a little bit. This part's important. Lift the chest and heart, push away your mat and hug your shoulder blades in. Feels as if you're almost trying to squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit together. All right. Spread the hands out really wide. Use your fingertips. Deep breath in. On your exhale, lift your hips up. This might be where you stay, or you might carry on and lift your hips up. Firm your buttocks. Use your hamstrings. Push away the floor. Lift your chest towards the ceiling. Don't throw your head back. And then slowly come back down. Roll around the wrists. You've got one more round of that, okay? So get yourself set up. Just like you did before, making any adjustments if you need to, if you think the second round could be made better. All right, so whenever you're ready, lift up. Breathe. I'm shaking. Are you shaking? I'm shaking. Close the eyes. You've got this. And slowly come down. Definitely roll around the wrists, or you might need to take the wrists in the opposite position that they've just been in for a moment. And whenever you're ready, you're going to lay yourselves down onto your mats. And bend the knees and soles of the feet come together. Let the knees just drift out to the sides, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. Palms of the hands on top of the belly. Close the eyes. And take a reminder for the shoulders to move away from the ears and sink down into the mat. Let your hips be nice and open. Let your back sink into the mat. Let your face be soft. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Feel the belly rise and swell up towards the sky. And then on the exhale, deflating. I'm going to let you carry on laying down here for as long as you need. I really hope you enjoyed this practice today and it took you away from any stress going on, anything that's causing you to be distracted or eating up a lot of your time. Thank you for sharing this part of your day with me. I'm going to leave you now to carry on with your Shavasana time. And when you're ready to get up, that you slowly open the eyes and you slowly come back into the room and carry on with your day in a positive way.